The purpose of the Global CFO Council is to provide an educational and networking forum for senior financial executives in order to share best practices, discuss current financial issues, and to learn about current topics related to the performance of their jobs. Membership is open to senior financial executives including CFOs, financial VPs, and treasurers. We hope that you'll become a member of the Global CFO Council today. To join, please visit the membership tab at globalcfocouncil.com.
Walt, good afternoon. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you, Robert?
I am doing really fantastic. We just got a little taste of what's to come here pre-show. I'm excited. Walt is a super fascinating person. Let's get right into this, Walt. Batansky is the CFO at Advocat Group. Looks like it's a 360-degree approach to corporate real estate. Very interesting. Based in Florida, where I'm from originally, now in South Carolina. I think you got your undergraduate in finance from the University of South Florida. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And two things I think about you that I think are true. One, I know for sure. And then the second one is, I don't know, it's kind of sketchy. Maybe it's true. First one is you are a fellow advocate of this hybrid remote work where possible. I think you've written like dozens and dozens and dozens of articles. And whereas I am a newcomer to being a promoter, you are an old timer. You're like OG for hybrid and remote. Is that true?
I think I saw this coming before COVID happened. And obviously COVID pushed a lot of people into talking about it. That yes, absolutely. I think it's the way of the future. So lots of advantages for both employers and employees. So.
And Walt, this was an old comment, but I saw a comment online that you give cookies to your clients during Christmas. Is that true? Are you one of those guys?
Yeah, we did that for many years. And actually, COVID has kind of messed that up because the clients aren't in the office anymore and you deliver them and they go stale and they call you sometime in January, go like, hey, I've got some hard cookies on my desk here. So
you are the reason we all gain 10 pounds every Christmas because of these delicious cookies and treats that get sent around. So they're so good going down. And then the regret kicks in for me. Walt, let's get into this. Question number one, what is your favorite business book and why?
Okay, well, I've got two. So, the one that I kind of like the most is called Tribe of Mentors. It's a Tim Ferriss book. He asks about 10 questions, very similar to your format, actually. What's your favorite book that you gift the most? What's the best advice you got? What's the worst advice? Things like that. And he interviewed Ray Dalio and Tom Peters and a number of thought leaders, some celebrities that are in there, but I find it fascinating. Ask them what their habits are, ask them what's the best device they bought for $100. So I love reading that kind of stuff. But I have to give mention to this book. It's by a guy named George Bockel, How Real Estate Fortunes Are Made. It's really about real estate finance, leveraging, dealing with bankers, how to set up a real estate firm. I read it when I was 13. I told my relatives and everybody I knew that I was going to get into real estate. And then I kind of forgot about it, backburnered it, went to college, majored in photojournalism. And it wasn't until years later that I rediscovered the book, remembered reading it. And basically it's a outline of how we run the business that we run here in many ways. So I actually looked up this guy 35 years after I read the book, wondered if he was even still alive, but figured with the internet I could find out. He was 93, he was blind. I got hold of his grandson. His grandson hooked me up to him. And I told him that I owed my career in real estate to him. So that was kind of neat.
Wow, that is so cool. What a great book. I have a teenager who is fascinated by the real estate industry. We were just talking about this, how timely and how great that you got to speak to the author. That is so cool. And my secret has been revealed. You and I have share a favorite book, Tribe of Mentors. And if you're wondering where I got all the ideas for my questions, I kind of stole them from Tim Ferriss. I'm even using his microphone that he recommends. I'm blatantly stealing I'm like a bald reflection of the poor man's Tim Ferriss. So question number 2. Wow, you set the bar high here, Walt. So question number 2, what is your favorite and best advice that you've ever received?
So while I was in school, I was a sophomore, photojournalism major. I took a real estate course from an adjunct professor. He said, look, if your photos are good, you don't need a degree. And if your photos are bad, the degree's not going to help you. So why don't you change your degree to finance? You can always fall back on that, and every business needs somebody in finance. So I thought that's probably not bad advice, and it's exactly what I did. I actually went to work for him at age 19. He needed somebody to drive contracts around town. They hadn't invented the fax machine yet. So I was an Uber driver for contracts, and that was 79. So 42 years later, here I am, last man standing, same company, out of 28 people originally in the firm. So,
wow, that is amazing.
You don't hear that too often, right?
Wow, nobody can call you a short timer.
Nope.
Question number 3, what is a tool that you've recently started using or a habit that you've recently picked up that you have found beneficial?
Yeah, so a business tool that I use is called Figma, F-I-G-M-A, which is a tool that lets you make wireframes for computer programs. We have a number of computer programs that we make. We have an app called Leasing Better that you can get on both app stores. But that's kind of a thing for technology nerds, and most people, it's going to be above most of your audience. My daughters bought me a Whoop, if you know what a Whoop is. So 15, 16, 18 years ago, I read Younger Next Year by Chris Crowley, which I saw you mention. And at that time, I started using a heart rate monitor, because if you don't measure it, you can't manage it, right? So, I used it faithfully ever since. So my kids got me this. It does so much more than just heart rate monitor. It does heart rate variability, measures your sleep, made a big difference in, I wasn't managing my sleep, didn't think I needed to, but it has helped me improve that. So it's a really cool tool, gives you lots of analytics about your workouts. Joke that it wants to kill me, because I'll do a workout that I'm just exhausted from, and then it'll go like, you're halfway to your goal today, you know? And yeah, so that's my tool.
So helpful too. I can echo the importance of sleep. Never realized it, but as somebody who's over 40, I won't speak for you. I am, as a 47-year-old man, nothing is more important than sleep and recovery, and all the bad things you don't want to happen to you are more likely to happen if you're not having good sleep. So, man, I want to echo and affirm that. And I too will track my exercises, and I think I'm at like level 7 intensity, and my watch will be like, yeah, 1.5, and we're being generous.
Right, right, exactly. Well, the other thing I didn't realize about sleep was I counted from the time I went to bed until the time I woke up. It monitors when you're awake, when you're in deep sleep, when you're in REM, et cetera. And I realized there's a lot of time that I'm laying there actually awake, and that doesn't really regenerate, my brain. So, yeah, so you need more than sometimes 8 hours to catch up. So, yeah.
Walt, what about the best part of your current job?
Best part of my current job is, I spent, it looks like career stagnation for 40 years with the same firm. But during that time, I ran the financing on real estate projects, all 50 states, many times over, 11 countries. So in total, more than a couple thousand different projects. So now I am brought in to deal with the CFOs, because most times real estate projects fall underneath the CFO, or at some point the CFO, when they really get serious, is going to roll up his sleeves and get involved. And so the staff brings me in to talk to them. And many of the client companies, I know the CFOs from CFO groups like this or other ones that I'm in. So they're people I know. I get to interface with them. I get to talk them through, understand the concerns. Maybe we tweak some things, but that's really fun for me. You know, I'm very much, I like being hands-on, and it's outside of my traditional CFO role, doing financials or whatever. So it lets me get back in the game a little bit.
Walt, what about something personal that you wouldn't mind sharing about yourself with the rest of the CFO Council members?
Yeah, you know, I'm a vegan. I've been vegan for 22 years. That's probably longer than most anybody that you'll run into that's one. So I do things for long amounts of time. You know, I've worked for a long amount of time. I've been married for 37 years. I've been a vegan for 22. I haven't seen a pro or college football game from start to finish for 25 years. Seen plenty of parts of them, attended them, but haven't sat down and watched one end to end for 25 years, because once my kids were born, I figured I needed more time in my life, and that's what I gave up.
That's a good way to get some extra time in your schedule if you're not distracted with sort of nonsense on TV. Well done. And we also talked about something super cool that I can't let slide, is that, and I don't know if you were going to bring it up in the next question, but an early job in college of photography, that sounded super cool. You got any cool stories of being a concert photographer, and any favorite bands or bands you no longer like after being up on that stage with them?
Yeah, you know, so I did 320 shows, some of them. And so if there were 3 bands on the bill, you know, a couple of opening bands and the headliners, then that would count as 3. So I did 320 acts, but I saw U2 at the Stadium Lounge. There were probably 150 or 200 people. Adam Clayton wasn't shaving yet, and I know that because I could see the 6 hairs coming out of his chin, the bass player. You know, I went on tour with Van Halen, met lots of guys. I got a few stories I probably won't say on film. Yeah, lots of great guys. You know, the band Rush were big heroes of mine at the time, and I got to meet them and hang out with them. And yeah, so that was fun. Lots of them like that. Got backstage at the Rolling Stones.
Well, you had much cooler early career jobs than I did. Well done. Question number 6, last question. It happened so fast. Walt, what's something I should have asked you, but I didn't? And what is your answer to that?
Well, I'm in the real estate industry, and a big portion of what we do is helping companies to get their arms around hybrid work and back to work and the future of work and the future of the office. So what you should have asked me is like, where's all this going, you know? And I think it is different for everybody, and it needs to be different for everybody, in the same way that attorneys had a much different build out than, say, a call center would in their offices. We're all going to have very uniquely designed back to work and future of work plans. Certainly, it has to include the office for the vast majority, because we all know that there are great benefits to being together, establishing a team, mentoring people. But it really needs to be done on a company by company basis, but then also on a department by department basis. And then even on the individuals, you know, somebody who's been with the company only 3 or 6 months probably needs to come in a lot more than someone who's been there 10 years, unless the person who's been there for 10 years is mentoring the people, you know, that have only been in 3 to 6 months, right? So you really have to almost design a custom plan for each person. But the idea is you work from the place that is most efficient for you to do. And if commuting in an hour each way takes away your efficiency, then you probably shouldn't be doing that a lot. But you do need to come in, you do need to be part of an organization. So I think that there will be an office, but now it kind of throws strategy. Does the office need to be in the downtown? Could it be in the suburbs? Could it be multiple offices in the suburbs where we just basically have, we call it our own private Starbucks, right? So you get on your own secure Wi-Fi, your IT department controls it, especially if there's confidentiality issues, a lot of companies have. So you can still kind of control those things in an environment rather than send everybody to WeWork or Starbucks. But it's really going to be specialized based on each company. And I think that it hasn't been a crisis in real estate. You haven't seen rates drop yet because real estate's not very breathable. They're 3, 5, 7, 10-year leases. Companies haven't been in a real hurry because the CEOs secretly want everybody back and they want to wait and see what's going to happen. But I think that light bulb's starting to come on for some of them now. I think it will come on for more over the next few years. And as those leases come due, and you say, hey, it's time to renew the lease or not. And gee, by the way, only 6 people are working in our office of 100 or coming in 5 days a week. Maybe we should cut that space back a little bit. I think we've got a 5 or 10 year supply of office space.
So true. Amen. Agree with everything you just said. Highly recommend folks Googling Walt and some of the articles that he's written on the subject. Fantastic. Early adopter. Great detail. He's been thinking about this for years. So he's way ahead of the game. I'm a recent convert. So great content, Walt. Appreciate that. Also appreciate all that you shared today, getting to learn a little bit about you. And amazed I've never heard of a vegan being a vegan for 22 years, married 30 something, working same company 40 something. You said you don't even look 40 something years old. Amazing. It's been a pleasure getting to talk to you.
Well, I want to thank you. You do this very selflessly, and I'm not sure that your ROI is really that great for all the effort that you must put into this thing, but it's really nice of you to create a community. The content that you put out is great. The Meet a Member thing is a wonderful. So thank you for your time and what you do for us.
Well, thank you. And this video will get extra promotion because of the awesome content and nice things you said about me. So well done, Walt.
Good deal. Thank you.
See you later.
All right. Bye.